And we're live. So, in this video, I just wanted for us to continue discussing where we left off from the last video. I know we ran out of time. We couldn't finish everything that we wanted to discuss. But now we have the opportunity to continue the discussion on George Floyd.
Okay.
So, I got my guest with me, Blanca Boy, and I'm so excited to have this discussion once again. Um, so before we begin, how you have you been doing?
I've been doing very well, just got off of work and like what I said in last video, I'm getting ready. I'm already packing up and tomorrow I'll be off. So
Sounds good. All right, so where did we leave off last time
um
in
I
the
think it
last discussion?
was I think it was I think it was a white supremacy and all that stuff.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on the um the cops attacking the protesters? Like after the George Floyd death, there's videos circulating showing cops pretty much attacking protesters. Like you clearly see that they're um throwing flashbangs, they're throwing tear gas, they're shooting rubber bullets, and the civilians like they're not doing anything to provoke the cops. Like even a congresswoman said she thought the same thing. Like she thought these protesters were were trying to provoke the cops or something. She said don't provoke them, and she tried to calm them down, like tried to she was trying to protest peacefully,
Mhm.
and they still used violence against her. Like they uh they used pepper spray or a bunch of stuff. I think I can't remember exactly what they did, but they pretty much attacked her anyways. And
Mhm.
even from and then there's other videos of protesters. They said they have their hands up and they're chanting "Hands up, don't shoot," and the cops shoot them anyways, like rubber bullets and smoke, um, smoke and all that.
Dang.
So yeah, so what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it depends on how this how you look at the situation. Because if it's just peaceful protesters and cops are just going up and throwing tear gas, flashbang, shooting them with rubber bullets, then it's wrong of the cops because the people aren't attacking you. They're just protesting peacefully. They're just going out there. They're basically wasting their time going out there, and yet they did not come out to get abused by the cops. And
Right,
yeah, and that shows that cops are just as corrupted and cruel as as other criminals, because they think what they're doing is right, but then but at the same time you have to understand that maybe those cops didn't want to do it, but they were told to, because cops, they're like soldiers. They follow orders, and if the lieutenant or whoever is in charge tells them, "Hey, shoot them down," they got to do it. Yes or no, it's their job. They got to do what they got to do, and you can't really fight back, because it, and when okay, let me take that back a sec. They can fight back, but the boss is the boss. The boss can take you out no matter what. But when you're in a situation where you're with these protesters and these peaceful protesters, and they're protesting in front of your face, I understand. And if the protesters start to attack, I understand throwing tear gas and flashbangs and rubber bullets. But it's not okay for cops to do that if protesters are just minding their own business and protesting peacefully, because the people are not attacking. They're not engaging with the cops. They're just protesting. They want a change to happen in the city rather than attacking and showing violence. They're showing peace. They're showing that they care for the city, and that what they want is a bit of change and a bit of dignity. That, hey, what we want is to see something different in the city. Because, like what I said in the last video, the city does not belong to the government. It belongs to the people. And the people were the ones who, got this together. And the people are the ones who vote for the people that are in the government to be in their office. So there's no point of the government shutting down these people and not listening to what these people have to say, because these people are the ones paying money, paying taxes and all, just to have the city run. And if the city's not going to listen, then or if the government's not going to listen and the cops are not going to listen, then what's the point of the cops? What's the point of the cops throwing out that violence? If people aren't going to attack them, if you're going to throw violence, at least throw it to someone who's going to attack you. And I understand, that the looters, they blend in with the protesters, and all that stuff is happening, still happening right now, but only a small chance, to this day. Understanding that, yeah, looters, they can hide in the crowd of protesters and will still not be found by the cops. Um, you know, and I understand that, shooting people with rubber bullets and all that stuff. Yeah, you're telling them to back away, but at the same time, you're doing it just for your benefit, because you're seeing people hurt, and you think what you're doing is good for your city. No, it's not. You're basically attacking your own people, and you're basically uh following a corrupt leader who is sick enough to watch their own people, who they swear an oath to protect, hurt. And that's sick. That makes me sick to my stomach to really hear that, to really see that cops are doing this to people because they think what they're doing is right, and they're wrong. They're being hypocritical about it. They need to stop. Like, this violence with cops to protesters need to stop. Unless the protesters are going to attack the cops, then I understand. But if not, then no. There is no point of firing, rubber bullets, not even just rubber bullets to people, because that crap hurts. And that's not taken lightly. So, you know, for someone to get shot at by a cop, as long as that person is not doing anything, it's the cop's fault. They need to understand that people aren't hurting them and all that stuff. I mean, I understand people do get into cops' faces and like protest in front of them, and that irritates cops. I understand that. But if they're not going to attack you, then don't ever, like, cops shouldn't use that excessive force against people. They should kind of just let it go and just let the protest go on peacefully. So that's my thought on it, because it really sickens me to really hear cops doing this to people who they swear to protect in their oaths, and lieutenants and captains are the boss of the police force that are doing this, are the ones that are sick, because they're the ones who want to see their own people hurt. and they say that, oh, what we're doing is right, what we're doing is trying to protect the city. Well, yeah, true, but at the same time, you have no reason to shoot at people who are protesting peacefully. If it's someone who you see, if it's someone who that that died, and you protest it, and a cop comes up, a random cop comes up and shoots you, wouldn't you be mad? If you were put on in the shoes of a protester, and you got shot by a rubber bullet, or you got shot up with tear gas or a flashbang and getting taken down by cops, you wouldn't like it. You would have fought back and want justice on the city that you love the most. You would have turned to the cops and tell them what you're doing is wrong. You would have said a lot of things to make sure that you want justice. And so that's really my thought on uh, police attacking protesters.
Right, right, and these videos just further prove that that it doesn't matter if you attack the cops or if you don't attack the cops. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're still gonna attack you. Like people think there's this myth going around that as long as you don't resist and as long as you act peacefully or something like that, that the cops are not gonna attack you, and that's just not true
Yeah.
for a lot of these situations, and that's why that's why you really can't defend these cops anymore because like
Mm-hmm.
because of the proof. And even there was like a senator who I'm not sure if you heard about this, but there was a senator who got pepper sprayed. Where, like he was protesting, and they thought they thought he was a normal civilian because he wasn't wearing anything to suggest that he was a senator. Um, so they pepper sprayed him,
Mm-hmm.
but once they thought that he was actually the senator of the state, uh, then they were like, then they were shocked, and that they gave him medical attention and stuff, and they started taking care of him. So it just shows you how careless the cops are, and they even did that to that congresswoman who yeah, that congresswoman who said who told the protesters don't provoke the cops, and yeah, so
Yeah.
there. And
It it it.
another thing. What?
Oh,
Go ahead.
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Continue.
Um, Another thing that I wanted to ask you about, but before I ask you that, like, what were you about to say?
Oh, yeah. It's just really sickening to just see cops, like, not even those who don't even recognize their own senator, and yet that senator gets assaulted by his own police force that he's in charge of. That just really sickens me.
Yeah, right. Um, so I was gonna ask you, what do you think? What did you think of the truck driver who tried to drive into the protesters?
Oh,
You know what I'm
bad
talking
mood.
about, right?
Yeah, bad mood on that guy, because that really shows that that dude doesn't really care about the protest. He doesn't really like. Yeah, he doesn't really give a crap. He just wants. He just wants to, do his own job or something. Like, I understand if he's in a hurry, but if he's mad and he just wants to drive through people, then that's what the police should focus on him. Because these other people that he tries to run over are protesting peacefully, and what you see is a guy in a truck driving, and he's gonna hit these people, and the cops aren't gonna do anything about it. You know, like, if I was a cop, I would have my gun towards him and tell him, no, back off. This is a protest, and if you drive in, if you drive through these people, I'm gonna have to arrest you for murder because
Yeah,
you're
and
yeah, because you have a truck. These people are on foot, so they are less powerful than you think. You have a truck, you can run over like around a lot of people, and so like why aren't the cops seeing this? Why aren't the cops drawing their guns at this guy and seeing that that's the bigger threat than the protest? So yeah.
um and there's debates on both sides about this driver. He apparently he didn't know that that they were protesting in that highway, but at the same time though they set up a blockade.
Sorry, I got cut off. Continue.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so there's a debates on both sides. They think that apparently this guy, this driver, he supposedly did not know that there were protesters on the highway, but the other side says that there is a blockade in front of the highway.
Mm-hmm.
So how could he not have known that there was a protest going on? Like if you see a blockade in front of the highway, you that means that that means that you have to stop
Mm-hmm.
and like you just can't go through there. And the fact that he went through there, like he drove around the blockade, is suspicious. So um and apparently um he drove. Apparently there's people who actually defend him by saying this guy was innocent and stuff, and he didn't mean to kill anybody, but later on, but he drove. It's like how could he not have killed anybody? Like how could he not have tried to murder? Like he drove high speed into the protesters. Like come
Yeah,
on now,
see.
like yeah, and he didn't stop, and and the only reason why I think the only reason why he stopped was because the moment he didn't hit anybody. So um and plus the people, like the moment that he slowed down, like the moment that he stopped, um people people got on the truck, and they got on the truck, and they took him out. Like they pretty much uh got in the driver's seat, pulled him out, and they started jumping him.
Mm-hmm.
And but people say, well, he stopped because he didn't mean to hurt them, and it's like no, like either way, like regardless of it's, I mean, okay, in those situations, like especially with the amount of space that there is, like it's really hard to run over protesters
Mm-hmm.
with a truck like that, like because that's a really big truck, and
Mm-hmm.
so like it's gonna be really tough to kill protesters, especially with how alert they were. Like nobody got hurt um because they saw him coming.
Yep.
So yeah, so that's why he stopped, because he would have if he really wanted to hurt, like if he really if he really wanted to hurt protesters, he would probably risk like crashing stuff because I mean come on Alex. You really think that he's gonna be able to do a U-turn on the highway like
Nope.
because there's like a barrier there,
Yeah.
there's a barrier there, so he would get stuck and
Mm-hmm.
like trying to do a U-turn like midway, and they would have still caught him. So and oh and but here's the thing though. Here's the thing that destroys all the arguments like defending this guy. Like um the police that he actually confessed to being a leader of the KKK.
Whoa.
Yeah, yeah, he confessed to being a leader, and therefore he confessed to um trying to murder those protesters.
And let me guess, they still defend him.
Oh, I'm pretty sure some do, but like
Oh my gosh.
I
Yeah.
haven't heard. Go ahead.
It it's just scary to just really think about it. You know, but continue what you're saying. That's what I was just gonna say. I was like, it's just scary. I don't know why you would confess, like you would just come out of the shadows and say, "Oh, I'm the leader of the KKK," because that really ticks people off. Like, "Oh, you're the leader? You sure?" I mean, if you are, then you're in big trouble for what you're doing because of this group. And being confessing that you are, I mean, I don't know him, but if he is really the leader of the KKK, then oh crap, like the cops got him. But if not, then he's covering up for the KKK, and that's what's really uh that's what's really going on right now. So
Yeah, I think the protesters regretted not jumping because they thought because he looked like an ordinary civilian, like to them, but they didn't jump him because they thought, hey, maybe he's innocent, like maybe that he didn't know that the cops were maybe that he didn't know that he was gonna run into anybody, so
yeah,
so that's
see,
why they spared him. But like now that everybody figured out he's a member of the KKK, like it's like I'm pretty sure he regrets not jumping. not They regret not jumping him. So um, yeah, that was a really messed up case right there. So um, what do you think about the
being I don't know what's going on today.
huh?
Yeah, yeah, I don't know
You
what's going on today. So yep,
this is really weird.
I know.
Do I do I kick this
Yeah,
kick
kick the other one out.
okay.
Okay.
All right. All right. So back to what I was saying. Okay.
Yep.
Um so what do you think about the evangelical Christian community's response um to the George Floyd?
I don't think I've heard that one. The evangelicals.
Yeah, the
Ooh,
the white Christians' response to George Floyd.
I don't know. I don't think I've heard that one before. I mean, but I think it might be very important because as a churchgoer myself, you have the words you say. I'm gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it. Like I don't give a crap. I'm just gonna say it because even though I'm a churchgoer, I'm gonna say that whatever like I hope whatever they said is good and not bad, because if it is bad, then it sucks to become, or it doesn't suck to become a churchgoer, because I love my religion and all, but it sucks to see people like that in a religion that you love the most. Then they screw up everything. But I don't think I haven't heard the story, so I can't say anything.
Okay, apparently many evangelical Christians are awfully silent about George Floyd.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. And there's even like I was watching this sermon by a black pastor, and he said he was basically upset that white Christians were not speaking out on George Floyd. They were awfully silent and stuff,
Yeah.
and they were awfully silent about black issues. And he said he was hurt by it because he was showing all the support to them, but when it came to black issues and when it came to George Floyd, they didn't want to say anything. So yeah,
Dang.
and I think if you're a Christian, like we need like as Christians, like we need to call these people out, you know,
Yup.
because there's a really inspirational sign that I saw one of the protesters held up. It said white silence is white violence.
Yes. Yes, I've heard that one.
Yeah, so these white Christians who don't say anything about George Floyd, like that makes me that's a sign that they actually low key agree with what Derek Chauvin did because they're not saying anything about it.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
they're not speaking out against Derek Chavez. So what's the point of calling yourself a Christian if you're not gonna step up to someone who murdered a fellow churchgoer? You know, there's no point of calling yourself a Christian, being prideful about what you do, if you can't even stand up to the person who you guys think is good and calling him out. That's what that is what making me mad, because if churchgoers are saying that what they're doing, they're doing is right, and all the stuff that they're doing is, perfect, then that's just BS, because they're just saying that so that they don't get butt hurt by what others have to say about them. But they know truthfully in their hearts that Derek Chavez, what he did was wrong, and that um, whatever George Floyd was doing, he was trying to do was just, he was trying to like survive, as he was getting pinned down. Yet people don't acknowledge this. People just, they stay silent because they know that if they say a word, that if one person says a word about it, someone's gonna like lash out. So that's why they said nothing.
right? And um the thing about it is that notice how these white Christians they talk about how great the white Christians like Billy Graham are like when Billy Graham died, all the white Christians like they're like mourning his death and everything and talking about how what a great man of God he was and stuff like that. And they're like going to his funeral and stuff and they say he's in heaven now, you know. Same with other white Christians. They're like they say the same pretty much the same thing like oh what a great man of God he was and stuff like that and but when it comes to like people like George Floyd, like they're awfully silent.
Yeah,
I
that
don't know.
that pisses a lot of people off too, because you talk about another Christian like that, but when it comes to a different ethnicity, you say nothing really, and he's a fellow Christian and a fellow brother of Christ, and yeah, you say nothing. That's kind of disrespectful, right? And people, when you offend the Christian, they use the Bible as an evidence to resolve what they're trying to beat you with. But now I'm gonna say is that You're not speaking up to your own brother of Christ who just died, and you think that being silent is gonna help. No, it's not gonna help unless this is Good Friday, and unless this is something to be silent about, or you're either praying in your head, you're either thinking of him in your thoughts, or you're just doing nothing. You guys are just scared to say a word about it. As Christians, you're supposed to mourn for anyone who has died, even if you don't know that person, as a brother of Christ or as a Christian, you're supposed to love people for who they are. And if they think that the cop is correct, if they think Derek Chavez is correct, then how wrong are they to really think of that, as a Christian, to really think of what if they're gonna be silent about it, they don't really give a crap about George Floyd. They can say whatever crap they want. If they hear this podcast, they can't say, they can't deny it. They're not going to say anything. Then they're cowards. They're a bunch of cowards. You know,
Right.
God tells us to love the world because He sent His only Son to die for our sins. Yet no one is standing up. Not even Christians. And this gives me a bad taste in my stomach, because you're hearing about Christians who are silent of a fellow Christian who just died, yet you guys aren't going to say anything. Are you guys really that scared to talk about a fellow Christian? Really? No one's going to step up? Come on, man. This sickens me so much that I really think that, like, is it, is being a Christian a bad thing or a good thing? Because at the same time, if Christians are just gonna be like this, then what was the point of being a Christian anyways? You think what you're doing is right in the eyes of the Lord. Wait until we go to heaven and God will judge you for what you've done on this earth. Then you will know that. Then you will know if it's right or wrong. You know, because I don't understand why Christians are talking about it and resolving this issue and mourning for the death of George Floyd, than to just be silent and do nothing about it and act like it never happened. That's the thing that sickens me, is because I believe I'm a Christian, yet yet people like this are gonna ignore about it. Stuff like these should not be ignored. They should be resolved. People should be praying for George Floyd's family. People should be, these white Christians should be mourning for him, as he was a fellow Christian too. He gave his life and everything. He left the life of crime and became a man that everyone loved. On the news, people even say that they look to George Floyd as a protector. He was a guy who protected his own people, and seeing him scared, calling out his mom, and really telling the cops that he couldn't breathe, was a sign that you know that he was dying, that he needs to he needs to, like, we need to do something. It's a sign to that the world is very corrupted, and that the world doesn't really care, doesn't really give a crap about what goes on. You know, because half of the world is protesting against the cops, yet the other half is doing nothing and supporting the cops for killing George Floyd. And finding out that some of the people that support the cops are Christians, and they aren't doing anything. No, you disgrace the word, you disgrace the name Christian. You shouldn't be Christians anymore. You know, I don't think there is forgiveness for those who think that, because if you can't acknowledge the fact that a person just died and he's a fellow Christian, and you don't mourn for him, then there's no point of being a Christian at all. You're supposed to love people. You're not supposed to judge them for who they are. You're not supposed to, tell them what they can do. because you can't control their life. You can't tell them, you can't, it's like you can't force people to be a Christian. If they want to be a Christian, let them. If they don't force. Because it's not their life that they want to be a Christian. It can be something else. So, for white people to ignore this kind of situation, it really sucks to really hear that people like that really ignore and really just keep their mouth shut in order to not get in trouble for what they're doing. So that, I'm just really pissed about that.
Yeah, and this is a shocking fact. Apparently, um, many Christians are Trump supporters.
See? See?
So that says a lot about where their values lie, and that
Oh
says a
my
lot about
gosh.
that explains why they're so silent about George
Mm-mm.
Floyd's death. And it's like I think this is a wake up because Christians, if you're a Christian, either you believe racism is wrong or you don't. There's no in the middle. Um, there's no dabbling between the two.
Yup.
It's either wrong or it's not. And and keep in mind though that just because Christians, someone claims to be a Christian, people claim to be Christian, doesn't mean they're actually Christians.
Yeah,
Like
see?
that black bastard said, "I'm waiting for my white brothers in Christ to speak on this issue," and it's like I almost wanted to tell him like they're not your brothers in Christ because they still have hate in their hearts towards minorities. So
Yup.
it's like how you're going to be waiting a heck of a long time for their response because
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to happen. Like and remember that back in the day during uh, during Martin Luther King's era around that time period, like remember how white Christians they were they were members of the KKK.
Yup.
So just because they're Christians doesn't automatically mean that they're on uh, the side of minorities. It does not
Uh-huh.
mean that they're not racists because a lot of Christians and are in America are fake. I'm
Yup.
just gonna put it. Most of them are fake. They're they're not real Christians.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
They're just saying that to get that title of being Christian.
right, and a lot of Christians they're just in this situation they're just they're just using the Bible and Christianity as a means to control people into
Yup.
embracing their views, their accepting their conservative values, and um and they don't want to do anything. It's like they're looking at the Bible and the world through a really narrow-minded lens.
Yup.
Like they don't actually care about what the Bible has to say about a whole bunch of different topics.
Mm-hmm.
They don't actually care about loving your neighbor, all of that. They just
Yup.
like they just want to justify their closet racism and
Mm-hmm.
and bigotry towards homosexuals
Yes.
and anybody who doesn't conform to their notions of what a quote Christian is um like it's like a political term in a way.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to it's like they want no part of that person, and
Yeah.
that's how you know they're fake because
Mm-hmm.
like this guy that I knew I thought that like I had to distance myself from him because he was like that. And like he wouldn't outright say I'm 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 uh I'm a racist, but you could tell from his post like that he kind of was low key racist because
Mm-hmm.
he was he was posting stuff on anti-immigration like news articles and stuff and
Yo.
talking talking about how trying to trying to justify um the police and talking about how looters like problem with looters and stuff like as if they like all protesters were looters and stuff like that
Mm-hmm.
and like and then he admitted that he was a Trumpster. So
Ooh, bad move, man.
yeah, so because well, it's because he did that though because I kept calling him out, like I kept making him uncomfortable. Like I was saying, I was trying to, like I was presenting facts and trying to debunk what he was saying and stuff like that. So he said he said he felt shamed for his views and stuff, and like, he was being shamed for his views and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like he said, I'm not racist, but I think all lives matter.
It doesn't, yeah, it doesn't make sense, like, being around Christians, and they say, they say, oh, if you're a Christian, then you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't be this, like how you brought up, like, you shouldn't be like all like fake Christian. They say that, oh, in the Bible they say like homosexual is not right. Well, yeah, the Bible does say that, but in the Bible it also says to love your neighbor as how Jesus loved his disciples. You have to understand that, Did in John 3:16 did it say for God so loved the Christians? For God so loved the righteous people? No. It said for God so loved the world, those who didn't even believe him, yet he still died for them. And that
Right.
means, yeah, that means the whole world, gays, lesbians, whatever, straight, those who believe in Buddha, Hindu, any religion. It didn't really matter because Jesus died for everyone, and he did that for our sins. And in the Bible, it also say, "Who gave you the power to judge?" In the book of James, it say, "Who gave you the power to judge?" No one has the power to judge but God. And yet what they're doing is they're just picking out verses, and yeah, and it may sound hypocritical to say it, but they are picking out verses and saying what they're trying to say to control people, to say that they're right and that we're wrong, because they think what they see is right in the eyes of the Lord. Like for the KKK, they reference Bible verses that split minorities and the whites, saying that, oh, whites and blacks shouldn't be together because the Bible says this. But you have to understand, the Bible said that, you need to love your neighbors. Thou shalt not kill. You kill for fun. Thou shalt not steal, yet you steal because you're criminals. You guys are thieves. You guys are people who take lives, you know, and you think what you're doing is right? No, you broke most of the commandments from Moses' 10 Commandments. Yet you call yourself Christian. You use the Bible to control people. Have you read the whole Bible? Have you understood the whole Bible? You know this, because it really sickens me for people to use the Bible against sexuality and against all others, because like what I told you, like I support the LGBTQ. There's nothing wrong. Jesus loves anyone. He loves everyone equally. He doesn't love one person more than the other. No. When we die, who are we going to look up to? We're going to look up to Jesus only. And gay or straight doesn't matter. Doesn't really give us like who gives a crap if a person is gay or not, If that person's gay, let him or her be gay. That's fine. There's nothing wrong. Yet these Christians, they think what they're doing is right, so they point out all the bad facts, like, hey, like homosexual is bad, and all this stuff is, it should be issued towards something else. and they try to be self-righteous, and being, and also being hypocritical, because you know, uh being with, seeing a group like that talking about you know, how bad homosexuality is, that kind of pisses me off. You know, seeing that people are like, hey, the are like, what church do you go to, you know, and like I remember going to this group. You know, I know we're going off topic, but going to this like, I saw this group and they asked me, they're like, hey, what denomination are you? I'm a Lutheran. Oh, are you the Lutherans that support LGBT, or are you? And they got very detailed, very they asked for like details, and I was like, well, I'm the Lutherans that support the LGBT community, and they look at me and they're like, why are you worshiping the devil, you know?
Oh
And
my gosh.
yeah, that escalated from 1 to 100. Like, I was like, what? Really? Like, who gave you the power to say I'm worshiping the devil? I'm not putting up pentagrams around my room. I'm not putting pentagrams on the Bible. No, I believe in the same God you believe in. Well, who gave you the power to judge? And then they like, I guess, like, I didn't go all out, but I was like, okay, like, why you say that, you know? And they're like, oh, because you think homosexual is right, and in the Bible it says homosexual is wrong. But I also learned this in college, when a homosexual pastor came and he was like, what's so wrong about being gay? Hmm? About being homosexual? Hmm? What's so different about being a homosexual than being
Right.
heterosexual? Okay? I can be homosexual. Okay? I can be heterosexual and still be a sinner. Okay? If you think homosexual is sin, you know, just being gay and all that stuff is being a sin. Okay, let me tell you the bad things about being heterosexual. Okay, I can have a wife, I can be married and still be cheating on her with a girl, with another woman. Yeah, I'm still heterosexual, right? And that's wrong because I'm not supposed to commit adultery, right? Okay. Another thing is, I can be, I can be heterosexual, but I can commit adultery to other people as well, and I'm still heterosexual. Right? There's no reason to say that homosexuals are, their sins are worse than others. No, our sins are the same. And if you think that homosexuals have a bigger sin than any other people, then you are blindsided. You don't understand what you're saying. You don't understand what you're talking about. Because being a homosexual myself, like, he quoted, all this stuff, all this that, and I listened thoroughly. And after that, people were very angry. People were very mad of what he said and questioning him about why homosexuality should be allowed in the Christian community. And I even stepped up too. I said, you know what? Because homosexuality, why should a person be discriminated by their sex? If they want to go by what they are, what they say, let them. Because, yes, God may intend it for them to be a guy, but what if that person feels like a girl, has the body or has a mind of a girl, and thinks that, the body that that she was given was wrong? You might not know. Maybe they feel like a girl in a guy's body and they want to become who they really are. So you can't really judge someone for that. But this is a little society that we live in, and there are going to be haters. So I can't really judge of haters like that, because a lot of things goes on and really it ticks me off to the point of um you know talking about homosexuals and Christians. And that's why I don't really bring it up a lot, because I do know people who are homosexuals and who are Christians, and they believe in God, yet they are homosexuals. They date the same sex, and I'm okay with it, because I've been around with them long enough to understand their story of coming out and their parents being fine of them and supporting them, and also being Christian, believing in God. My youth director even told me, there are two things. there are two people, okay, that you can choose. You can choose the gay man who who commits his life to God and is a righteous person, or you can choose this guy who knows God, who's who's been a Christian for a long time but is a murderer. Who do you choose? The righteous man who's a murderer, or the gay man who puts his life to God? Who would you choose? You know? And that really got me because I was like, oh, I would have chose the gay man because just because he's gay, he gives his life to God. He gives his life to the Lord. He sacrifices whatever time he has to the Lord so that him and Lord can have a relationship. Him and God can have a relationship. And, this is what pisses me off when people take the Bible and use it to their advantage of controlling people and saying that, people can't do this and all this is a sin. So this, yeah, I don't really like about it. And that really makes me mad. So,
Oh, and here's another bizarre kind of messed up fact about white Christians. Um, Apparently, when white Christians they saw that Trump had incestuous fantasies about his daughter, they said, "quote It's biblical." Yeah,
what?
yeah, that's what they said. And my friend, like he posted that, and I read. As soon as I read the title, I was shocked. I was like, okay, I need to, I need to back up a little bit here. I was like, what? I was like, okay, I need to process. Like, oh my god,
What?
like,
He's like 70, 80 years. This dude's like 60, 70 years old, and he fantasized about his daughter.
yeah, yeah, that made me sick to my stomach.
Yeah, like I think I kind of gagged. Oh my gosh.
He said,
Uh, I
he
can
said,
imagine. I
go
can
ahead.
just imagine being a father and just fantasizing about your daughter. That that is too far of incest.
He said he would date his daughter if they weren't related.
Ugh. Oh my gosh.
Like,
Oh,
I don't. Okay, I don't know what's worse. I don't know what's worse. I don't know what's worse. Him saying that or white Christians' response to that. Like,
both,
I don't know which one is worse.
both.
Because I was like, he's, wait. Oh, he said, no, actually, he said, he said, is it wrong? Let me see if I got this. He asked, he really asked this question. He asked, um, there's like this news article where he asked, uh, is it wrong to have sexual fantasies about your daughter?
Yes.
Like he legit he legit asked that. Like he legit asked that. I think like on the news. Like
Oh my
he
gosh.
I don't remember exactly like that's just based on a news article, but yeah he's called his daughter a bunch of stuff. Like he said that his daughter uh he said that his daughter was well voluptuous, something like that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I was like, I can't believe we have this guy as our president, and I also can't believe that these so-called Christians, are supporting his behavior.
Oh.
You know, yeah.
Oh.
So I was like it's like I said, like all of these Christians are fake. You know, they claim they're Christians, but they're really, they're really not.
Yeah,
Because they just they like the title. They like to control people, and by
yep,
them calling you devil, by them calling you a devil worshiper or something like that, it's really
yep.
just a manipulation tactic
Mm-hmm.
to get you to take their interpretation of the Bible.
Yep.
Um, and like there's this crazy Christian kind of extremist kind of bigot person who said uh, who said that there's a the protests full of quote Satanists and devil worship and stuff.
Oh my gosh.
And it was like it's really just their way of shaming, trying to manipulating people,
Yep.
spreading propaganda, and trying to justify their racist views and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. And uh, this is so ignorant. And
Yep.
but yeah, that's all I had to say about Christians. So, and
Yeah,
what do you think?
it,
What? Go
it
ahead.
it's really sickening for Donald Trump to really say that about fantasizing about his daughter. Because in the Bible, true, I did learn it in school, that there was some incest in the Bible, but you have to understand that these incests, yeah, it really does happen. That doesn't give you the point to really do that to your daughter, because at, at first it's your daughter. That's your blood. That's your own sweat. Your that's your own sweat, tears, and blood into your daughter's body. That's your own DNA. Yet you still want to be with I understand if he thinks his daughter is beautiful. Yeah, you could compliment your daughter, but fantasizing, uh, this has become some weird fetish of Donald Trump. His wife is already beautiful enough. Yeah, I don't know why he's doing this to his daughter. Because his daughter, I know his daughter is a model, but really fantasizing, that
Yeah, yeah,
that that's really yeah, like what I said, that's a whole level, another level of incest right there, and that's pretty disgusting, pretty weird. I don't think I will have the same, if I'm married, I have a daughter, I will not have the same like thinking as Donald Trump, because that's my daughter. I don't see my daughter as someone I can date. That's weird, because that's my child. But saying that, it's like, oh, people, because I bet there's gonna be people defending him, saying, oh, in the Bible it does that. Well, yeah, but in the Bible you have to understand that, you know you're not supposed to commit adultery, and to the fact that with incest you're not supposed to do incest. Yeah, in the Old Testament it happened, but come on, man, you really think that? Come on, that's gross.
yeah. This is the guy we have as president. You
Yeah.
know, I don't know how to feel about this. Like, I feel
Ooh.
like, but what do you think? Hey, what do you think about the guy who said all lives matter, and then he tried shooting an arrow at a protester, and then he got jumped.
Hypocrite. It's hypocrite. We need to talk about hypocrisy. I think that guy should be sent to jail. That guy should be jumped by prisoners. Okay, I'm joking. I'm just messing. No, but let's talk reality. I feel like that guy, yeah, that guy should go to prison. He needs to face, because he's saying, "Oh, all lives matter." Yet you're killing someone with the arrow. Okay, you try to prove a point, but you backfired. You tried killing a person. Hey, you say, "Oh, all lives matter, man." Oh, but wait a second. Let me shoot an arrow at this protester, and then let's call it even. Like, really? Really? Come on, man. If I ever find you out there and you said that and you try to kill someone, I would have socked you out like a box, like Muhammad Ali sucking out Lipton, man. Look, I would have slammed you to the ground and be like, "What are you talking about? You try to say all lives matter, yet you try to kill someone. What's your point?
Exactly.
What's your point, man? Who you trying to be? Hawkeye? Who you trying to be? Legolas? You trying to kill someone with the arrow, dude? Come on, man. You're what you're doing is you're going back on your words. You say that all lives matter, but yet you're gonna kill someone over it. Then what was the point of even saying it? Does this guy even have a brain? I don't think so. If he does, his brain is the size of a peanut.
He legit said, all lives matter, and then he shooting somebody, and then he got jumped. Like,
Yeah, see, he deserves to get beat up because he backed out on his words. So he deserves, if he gets a black eye, good for him. He deserves it. You know, I mean, if this dude got jumped by white supremacists and he said all lives matter, and he got jumped by a white supremacist, then that's a different story. But in this case, he said that all lives matter, but then he tried to kill someone. Not a good strategy, man. Come on. Well, you got yourself into this. Why say it in the first place?
yeah, and the thing, this is the hypocrisy of the White Lives Matter movement, and I think this guy pretty much represents the white, the all lives.
Yep.
Actually, I'm about to say I said White Lives Matter, but really, all lives. Really, the issue with all lives matter is how they only bring it up when it's convenient,
Mm-hmm.
especially in this situation. Like, just how are you going to say all lives matter, but then you point an arrow at a black protester?
Yeah. See.
So it's, that just proves, that just shows that you really don't think all lives matter.
Mm-hmm.
You just think that white lives matter. That's when you really think about it, because until Black Lives Matter, all lives can't matter.
Yeah.
You know, and if you really believe that all lives matter, then you would be going out and protesting along with the George Floyd protesters. Like,
Yo.
you would be going out protesting against against police brutality in defense of all the minorities who got killed over it.
Yo.
You would be trying to defend all lives. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you would be, you know, all lives, every life in the world. Like, you would be trying to defend them, but you're not,
Yo.
because because people who believe in, who, no, I won't say believe, but they claim that all lives matter. They don't really believe that, you know.
Yup.
And I told that guy too. Like, I said, you claim you're an all lives matter person or whatever, but why aren't you protesting? You know.
Yeah. See.
So that's the hypocrisy of the whole movement, and so
Mm-hmm.
um,
And it just sucks to see people like that. That still live, that still like goes around priding themselves to whatever they believe in, because um people like that, they make me sick to my stomach just really seeing them doing that. It really, yeah, it really does sicken me to the stomach about talking about, oh, what, like, black lives do matter, but yeah, you still do this and do that, you know and does it really matter? Are you just saying that to save your butt from getting jumped or something? And then after that, they get jumped. They get jumped for doing something stupid in the end. And that really pisses me off for people who say that, because they think that they're all cool. They think that they have to be that prideful to say that to someone. And I'm really like, it really, yeah, it really gets me mad seeing a person like that with that much pride, that much joy into saying that, yet they can't back up what they said. And I'm just like really pissed right now at people who are like that. And I don't, I forgive them, but at the same time, while this is going on, I can never forgive what they've done in the past. That really hurts the minorities to a certain point, because as a minority myself, you live this day forever, and you can never forget it. It's stuck in your mind. It's memory now. It's something. It's gonna go down in history, and they can't do anything about it. It's gonna be known as one of the biggest things that has ever happened in 2020. So just seeing people like that really sickens me to the stomach. Really hurts to see that people like that exist in this little world that we live in. And that they should, that they are able to live while people who deserve to live are dying off due to poor decisions that Americans are making. And that really sucks to hear that as an American too, because as a minority, you think that America is a place of freedom, a place of opportunity. It is, but at the same time, it's not. And that really pisses people off to a certain amount. And I don't think I can ever trust a lot of people anymore because of it. So this experience and everything that's been going on, I don't think a lot of people are gonna get trust from it through the KKK, through all that stuff, through fake Christians and all that stuff, and so forth. So
Yeah, that's why, like, me personally, that's why, as a self-defense instructor, like, I don't teach cops. Really, like,
yeah,
because
see,
because cops have gotten to a point. It's gotten to a point where they've become so racist and so corrupt
yo,
to a point where I can't even trust them to use the knowledge that I give out, like to use the hand-to-hand combat and weapons and everything.
yeah,
I can't
see,
even trust. I can't trust that they'll use that for good because it's like I know what you're trying to do. Like I know you're trying to use that to
defend
right.
yourself.
Yeah, you like to the cops. Like I know they're not gonna they're just gonna use it to oppress people, oppress minorities even further. You know, but like they actually gonna use it to actually defend themselves. Like they're
Yup.
just cops are just gonna use it further oppress minorities, and
Hmm.
by teaching these people, um, I'm pretty much I'm pretty much contributing to the oppression of blacks and minorities. So,
Yup.
and I know that a lot of people in the like, they would gladly and the martial arts community too. They would gladly accept cops into their circle
Yup.
for the sake of credibility or the sake of boosting their egos, like, oh, I trained with this cop or I trained with this cop,
Yup.
and it's like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Like it's fake. And when they say that, it's fake anyways, because
Hmm.
cops they're really no in terms of hand to hand combat, they're really no different than the average citizen.
Yeah, see?
Like they're matter of fact, I looked into their training and it clearly says that hand to hand combat training isn't really a big part of cop training at all.
See?
They have to cops have to go to they have to that's why they have to pay out of pocket. Like that's why they go to these martial arts schools to
To learn.
yeah to learn hand to hand combat because their training doesn't really provide for it. Like
Yup.
all they learned is how to shoot, had to radio in for help, the
Hmm.
backup had to radio in for SWAT. They're great at working with other people as a team.
But then they suck at most of the other things. They lack the other things that a soldier has that a cop doesn't, because soldiers are more. The reason why I say police officers are the soldiers of the city is because, like what we said yesterday in our video, that cops, they give their lives to serve their country, to serve their state. Yet if they can't have the formal training as a soldier does, then there's no point, because there's gonna come a time when um, police officers are gonna need to rely on uh, hand-to-hand combat to really stop their opponent. Because what if an opponent is a martial artist, and they get put into like a chokehold, they get put in an armbar, or any sort of situation that would get them stuck. What are they gonna do? They can't use their police stuff. What if the person got them in a good grip? They're not gonna like defend themselves that easily. So I understand that it doesn't go into their funds. Like, I understand that, but they have to understand that police officers, they're the soldiers in the city. They're the Dark Knight of they're the Batmans of the city. They're there to protect the citizens of whatever is out there.
Yeah, and do you have anything to say in regards to like preventing George Floyd's death? Like what do you have to say? Like, okay, so if you're a martial artist, what would you have done if you were in George Floyd's case to defend yourself?
If I was a martial artist, and
I mean,
defending,
go ahead.
like like um like defending myself and all that, it's not about the martial arts, it's not about all that, but it's you have to understand of human equality too, as a pay respect to your opponent and everything and all that stuff that goes on. A lot of things, because as a martial artist, you learn to respect your opponent, you learn to respect those who are around you, those who are you're sparring with, and all that. And if you're a cop too, you're supposed to respect the criminals too, because you're not supposed to just head on attack them without even questioning them. You're not supposed to do all this stuff that a cop shouldn't do, yet you still do it. You're not supposed to do that. A cop should be a person who people look up to, people who see as a hero, who seen as this war, as the soldier who just came back to battle, and he's there to serve his country, to put his life at risk, to really save those who he redeems as his own people. And I just want a cop to really understand that from a martial arts standpoint, you can learn martial arts, you can learn whatever martial art you want to learn, which can be any type of martial arts, Chinese, Japanese, Vietnamese, any type of Asian martial art, any other non-Asian martial arts you can use as well. So there, as a martial artist too, people should just you know cops even should just respect and to just understand what others are going towards, because I believe that the family of George Floyd, like, they're still mourning for him, for his death, as it's still fresh in their mind. It's still something that haunts them to this day, that they can't get out, because it's really sad and it's really haunting to really go back and see what happened during those times, when George Floyd was getting killed and all that stuff. Just really seeing that, and that's one piece of advice I would give to the cops to defend myself, is to understand that um, people, they need to if you're gonna use self defense on people, at least use it for the greater goods and never use it for your own benefit. Because if you do that, you're gonna be corrupted by whatever pride you have, whatever self pride you have in yourself. You know, rather take that away and use that power you have for good instead of using it for your own benefit. So no, that's all I have to say because I'm still mad to the point of people using um that sort of thing in front of people and saying that, oh, what they're doing is right and other people are just doing is wrong. It's really wrong to say that to someone because it's like a slap to the face to someone who you've done wrong. It's a big slap to the face saying, screw you, and you can go screw yourself and be. I'm gonna be myself and say all this stuff, and you can't do nothing about it. That's a big slap on the face, and I don't think anyone needs that right now in a time of need for George Floyd because George Floyd didn't mean to die. It was a coincidence that it just happened, and a lot of people witnessed it. And still to this day, people they still protect those cops who killed George Floyd. So
Yeah, and but what I mean to say is like, if as a martial artist, and how would you have, how would you have dealt with Derek Chauvin if you were George Floyd?
ooh, if Derek Chauvin was supposed to attack me, I have my right to attack back, but you have to understand, like when we talked about, what happened if I get attacked by a whole group? You get attacked by like three other cops, so that's four cops versus one guy. They all are armed. They all have guns. They have tasers. They have batons, and you're just an unarmed man who is getting attacked by the cops. You barely can't. You basically can't do anything, honestly, because even if you try to defend yourself, I'm gonna end up getting tased. If I were George Floyd, I would end up being shot dead instead of being choked to death. I would, all this stuff that's going on in my mind. Those are different possibilities I would have faced if I was in George Floyd's shoes and seeing how he reacted when he was getting attacked. I would have been. It would have been worse. Like I would have been shot instead of choked to death. I would have been really like instead of choking to death. Yeah, like I said, I would have been shot. I would have been killed instead of I would have been tased and just been just getting the crap knocked out of me. That would have happened. So it's lucky that at least George Floyd didn't have to go through getting destroyed, demolished by these cops. As long as he as long as he didn't get physically hurt and all that, I'm okay. The only thing I don't like is just the death of how he died and all that stuff because that still scares me to this day. And I'm kind of scared of cops because they have a bigger authority than every other person, and it's scary to think that because you're someone who you're basic. Everyone is lower class, yet other people they think differently and they see it differently. So it's really hard to manage people's thinkings and thoughts about what the world really means. But if I was in George Floyd's shoes, and if it was only Derek Chavez, oh heck yeah! If he put his arm on me, I'm gonna attack back, because I thought I was only getting here to be interrogated or being arrested. Yet he went a step further and tried to touch me, and if he touches me, then crap is gonna go down. Like stuff is gonna go down. I'm gonna get angry. I'm gonna get mad. Stuff is, a lot of things are gonna go down, and it is not gonna look good for Derek Chavez, because he's not supposed to attack unless necessary. I mean, if okay, so if George Floyd was the one who attacked him, okay, then I see that purpose, but it wasn't. Derek Chavez just straight in and went for the kill, and look what happened. Derek Chavez killed George Floyd, and George Floyd didn't even attack him like once. So there's no point of Derek Chavez being a nice guy or so, and people should let him out. No, he should be in jail and facing charges, because what he has done was wrong. He shouldn't have done it. He shouldn't have killed uh, he shouldn't have killed George Floyd over a stupid thing, or over something that has happened, of accusing him or something. He shouldn't go to jail for that. No one has to go through what he went through. And it's sad to just hear that he died under those circumstances. And for a guy like him, and for a young guy too, he didn't deserve it. He didn't deserve to die. He deserved to live the life that he wanted to live. And the cops took that away, and took advantage of their power to kill him. So it's sad to hear that cops like that exist in this world, and that they do that for whatever means necessary for them.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll talk more about police brutality in the future.
Yep.
But yeah, that's all I had to say for this video.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you got anything else you want to add?
Uh, nope. I think I might add my ending to it, and then yeah, we can end it to that.
All right. Well, yeah, we had a great discussion on the
Yeah.
issue of police brutality and George Floyd. So yeah, go ahead and wrap this up.
Okay. Well, since we are done with this discussion, I hope that you like this video. Give it a thumbs up. Go check my boy Isaiah's channel. He teaches self defense. Go learn it. And go learn his lessons. Talk. Reach out on Messenger if you want to learn more. Reach out to him, and really, really do reach out to him. He does give out lessons too, and all that. But check out my channel. It's Blanca Boy, and zap that like button. And I hope you like what you heard from this podcast. So yeah,
Okay, so I'll see everybody later.
see ya.